Hello there, YouTube. This is the Road Gem Player here, coming at you after a 2-month hiatus. The holidays are over, new sets have come out, and it is time to start bringing back decks that, quite frankly, I should have updated a long while back. There really isn't a major explanation as to why I've been gone for so long, other than life in general. So let's get right on into it. This is going to be the updated version of a Ghoti list that I profiled last year. A lot of things, the deck is very similar to what it was before, with a couple of tech choices, along with just card choices that, quite frankly, needed to happen. This does not use anything from Suda currently. I will be testing to see if anything from Suda works, but it looks like nothing really kind of pops out. So let's get right on into it. So to start off, so Ghoti is kind of one of those decks where you're playing, it's basically banished fish, and all you're trying to do is kind of get certain pieces into rotation while generating advantage out of basically nothing. So we're going to start with the tuners. So all the tuners have this effect where if they're banished or in the banished pile because they were there during the opponent's turn, during the standby phase of during the standby phase of the next turn after they've been banished, they summon themselves and they either quick synchro or allow you to immediately synchro into a fish synchro, which is pretty important. They are just recurable monsters that just kind of give you more advantage, allow you to level ladder, and then summon certain cards on your opponent's turn to kind of just completely nuke your opponent's board in that regard. And then we have the two low-level non-tuners, Keef and Ixeep. Ixeep is there because it's an extender when you banish a fish, and Keef is like an SP Little Knight that can also recur a monster, which is pretty cool. And then not to mention that when it is banished, it summons itself during the next standby. So it's another one of those, it recurs itself. We are then playing one of each of the level 6s, one Pisces, Enoch, and Snopios. These are all pretty important, just because they all serve a purpose. So Moonlight is in there because it's literally the card you want to banish off of the Arion post. It does give you basically access to any fish in the game, provided that you actually have access to it. Enoch allows you to recur monster when you summon it. Not to mention that it does allow you to add a Ghoti trap from deck to hand if you banish a fish. And then Snopios allows you to recur it. First of all, you banish 2 to summon it, so it's free summon. Not to mention it does recur itself back to your hand when you banish a fish. So also it's a removal because you can target an opponent's card and then be able to get rid of it. To supplement the Ghoti stuff, because we're playing a bunch of one-outs, we're actually playing what's known as the White Aura package, which is 3 copies of Sunfish and 3 copies of Sardine. So how these cards work is White Sardine allows you to send another copy from deck to grave to summon it, and then if you summon it from the graveyard, it becomes a tuner. However, how this works is you use White Sunfish to summon itself, because as long as you control a monster on board and a name in grave, you can summon White Sunfish for free and then bring back the monster in grave. So it allows you to basically put 8 stars of monsters without actually using your normal summon. But it'll also do the synchro ladder, which gives you access to very, very good synchros. Unfortunately, a lot of the cards in this deck, a lot of the like water support stuff, lock you into waters for the turn. So keep that in mind, or for the rest of the turn. So that's why we're playing strictly water stuff. So keep that in mind. This is kind of one of those that you can really, really go into a lot of things with it. Because we're playing a bunch of fish, you pretty much have to play the 3 obligatory Abyss Shark. This card says when you control water, you can summon it, and then you can add any level 3, 4, or 5 fish for basically for free. And it already locks you into waters, so keep that in mind. And then we're playing, I'm testing this because I'm playing 3 copies of Fishborg Harpooner. The reason being is it allows you to get waters out of your hand, not to mention it's a level 4, it's a tuner, so you can use it the level 4s in the deck. It can give you access to some really unique items. Not to mention that When it's sent to the graveyard, you can negate for a water synchro. It does allow you to negate a monster effect on your opponent's board. And then we're playing one copy of Lifeless Leaf Fish because it is a 1-card combo for the deck to kind of link ladder or synchro ladder, and then not to mention it's another recursion card. So that's all the fish stuff. We're going to go into the hand traps, which is 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Nibiru the Primal Being, and then we're playing 1 Droll and 1 Effect Veiler. I like having some like versatility, not to mention that they're good cross-set designator targets, which serve dual purpose in this deck. We are then playing, for spells, playing 3 copies of the field spell, which is the Most Deepest Depths. Once you have 1 copy of it, you don't need more, but you do need to be able to access it, because unfortunately the deck does not have a direct way of searching this, because it's not a Ghoti card. You banish a fish to add a Ghoti monster from deck to hand, so it's a free search that can trigger things. Not to mention you can target a fish you control, banish it, and then add this card from your graveyard to your hand when it's in there. And not to mention that when you control a fish synchro, this card cannot be banished or destroyed, which is important because you summon the Deep Beyond, and Deep Beyond, when summoned on your opponent's turn, nukes the whole board. So allows you to still have something on the board. We're then playing 3 copies of White Reincarnation. This is the White Aura Search card. This basically says any fish monster that has an effect to treat itself as a tuner can be added from deck to hand. So anything down the line can do that, but I don't think they're going to really be stupid to make things really, really viable that way. Not to mention, it makes the synchro monsters, the White Aura synchros, allow you to attack again. Not to mention, when a level 8 or higher fish synchro is special summoned from your graveyard, you can nuke your opponent's board of all their monsters, which is pretty important. So it allows you to really get good recursion out of it. You then play the 3 copies of Cross-Out Designator and the 1 copy of Called by the Grave. The reason why we're playing this is Cross-Out Designator is really good because you can banish any of the Ghoti cards as well from your deck, which is fine because you're only negating till the end of the turn. But if you banish the tuners, they recur themselves. Same thing by Called by the Grave. So it already does double duty for the deck. We then play, for the traps, we're playing 1 copy of Chain and 1 copy of Fury. I like these cards. Chain allows you to banish a fish to summon 1 Ghoti from your banished hand or deck with a different name, which is fine. It does banish it when it leaves the field, but that's fine because you're just getting a free monster to continue play. As Fury's same thing. You can target a fish you control on 1 monster opponent controls, banish both until the standby, which is fine because you're just triggering effects. And then if a fish is summoned while any card is banished, you can banish this card from your grave to buff all their attacks by 100 for each banished card, which can just kind of win you games randomly. And then for the last trap, we're playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. If you want to play like Dominus Impulse or whatever other hand traps you want, you can play those as well. For the extra deck is pretty tight-ish, but there is some flex spots depending on how you want to play it. So we're going to start with 2 copies of Arion Post. This is the best Ghoti synchro in the entire deck from a combo perspective. This is literally the card you want to make first. You always want to make the Arion Post no matter what it is, because it does give you access to any fish in the deck, which is pretty important because it allows you to get advantage slowly for basically nothing. We're then playing 2 copies of Ascon. The reason why we're playing this is not only is it just free removal, but it does recur itself immediately, which is pretty important. Because when you summon it, you can target a fish you control on a card your opponent controls, banish them, and then you can banish another fish from your graveyard to summon this card right back, which is pretty important because this basically allows you to link Synchro Ladder into this, get rid of my opponent's card, bring it right back. It's 27 attacks, so it's pretty cool. And then the last Ghoti card we are playing is 2 copies of Deep Beyond because this is the win con. So the idea is you summon this on your opponent's turn, nuke your opponent's board. Okay, you nuke all cards on board, and then it comes back during the next standby, and it has a bunch of attack, and you just OTK for game. Because you're literally just going to recur your Ghoti tuners and things like that just off of the Deep Beyond doing that. So that's the Ghoti synchros. You can change the ratios if you'd like. Now the rest of it is toolbox synchros that you kind of have to play. We're playing the White Aura Porpoise, which is another synchro ladder card if you need it, because it does allow you to summon back multiple cards, because you can when it's summoned, you can special summon a level 4 lower from your hand or grave, and then you can summon another name from the grave. So this allows you to make 10s very easily, because you're able to summon back Sardine off of this. So, not to mention, it is another one of those, if it's destroyed, it can recur itself. White Aura Whale, this is a win button. When it's summoned, it immediately destroys everything on that's in attack position on your opponent's board. It doesn't make 2 attacks on monsters, does piercing, and then it also has the recursion effect where you can banish another water to summon it back. It does treat itself as a tuner. You don't necessarily have to do that. We're then playing 1 Dragite because it's a spell trap negate, which I think is pretty important. And then for the 2 level 10s, we're playing 1 Chenyi and 1 Ice J Grimmer Green. These are the 2 best level 10 water synchros that you can really play. You can't play, well, you could play the Lancia from Ice Barrier, but there's not a whole lot of options for that, because you have to basically play other stuff. And I don't want to play any more bricks than the deck already has, because it has quite a few, just the way the deck operates, because you don't actually want to draw any of your Ghoti stuff if you can avoid it. And then the only links we're playing is the 1 copy of the Corlin Enemy and the 1 copy of Area the Charmer Gentle. These are just generic link 2s. This allows you to recur a monster, and not to mention, since you're already locked to waters anyway, you can still synchro and things like that. And then this is just a generic water that can be used in mirror matches and other things. And then I am testing this, which is a Bahamut Shark Toad combo package, just because we play just enough level 4s in this deck that we can just easily just summon it. Summon Bahamut Shark. There's a couple combos you could probably make off of this. It's kind of neat, especially if your goal is to just summon something and just kind of protect it. Also helps when you brick, because Fishborg Harpooner allows you to just summon anything. So you can do that, make X-Seep after summoning it, and you can still make this. It's kind of cool. So, kind of a generic negate. So, but that's the deck for the most part. This is, one of those cool pet decks that you kind of just bring back every format. Every time we get new water support. I know the new Atlantean cards came out, but they don't really help with this deck necessarily, just because it's not designed for that. But I'm sure at some point we're going to find some good water support. I'm actually really testing other things. So let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll be bringing more deck profiles as the month goes on. I really have been kind of testing things as January went through, but I kind of needed to find time to do that with how busy I am. So thank you for stopping by. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.